Welcome back, Strongman Personal Finance. I'm your host, Strongman, and today we're going to critique Dave Ramsey's baby steps, and I'm going to show you a better method that you can use to get out of debt and accumulate wealth, because I am a financial genius. Now, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button for notifications, leave a comment down below, and we'll have a reasonable discussion. And if you dislike the video, I'm gonna be pissed. So don't do that, you Dave Ramsey fanatics. Let's go. On the left, I have Dave Ramsey's baby steps. This is a step-by-step guide to get out of debt and start saving for your retirement. On this side, I have Strongman, that's me, Alpha Stumps. Dave has baby steps. I have Alpha, short for alpha male, stumps. Now, let's go through Dave Ramsey's baby steps. The first step he wants you to do is save $1,000 in an emergency savings account. You put that money aside, it sits there, and it is only there for emergencies. You don't invest that money, you don't day trade, you don't do anything stupid with that money. That money is gonna sit in an account, and if something bad happens, your car breaks down, you have an unexpected medical bill, boom, that's what that money's there for. If you don't have that money there, you're never gonna escape the cycle of credit card debt. So that's not a bad start for Dave. Not quite what I would put in my savings account to begin with, but a good start. Now, he tells you to pay off all your debt, except for your house. So your credit cards, your student loans, blah, 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 blah. Now, my one disagreement with this, well, there's actually two. The first one is, he wants you to pay your smallest debts down first. And from a psychological standpoint, that might make sense. But what actually makes financial sense, and if you can actually take the time to understand it, you want to pay off your highest interest rate debts first. Because the higher the rate, the more interest is accruing. So if you want to get rid of your debt, pay off your highest interest rate debt first, probably your credit cards, and then move down to personal loans, student loans, and whatever. The faster you do that, the faster you get out of debt, and you save way more money. But if you can't stand the idea of leaving little debts by themselves, well, you're gonna pay a lot of interest. So that's one disagreement I have. The other disagreement, if you have a car loan, for example, and it's only like 2 or 3%, you don't have to pay that off instantly before you start investing. It's not that high of an interest rate. As a matter of fact, it almost matches inflation. If it's a low interest rate, you're better off investing in stocks or broadly diversified mutual funds. You don't need to pay off every single freaking debt before you start investing. That's another huge disagreement I have with this. Now, after you pay off all your debts, according to him, except for your house, you save 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. I got no problems with that. You want to save 3 months if you're single, live in an apartment, you have a steady job. But if you're married, you have kids, maybe you're the sole provider of the income for the family, you have a house, whatever. At that point, you might want to have 6 months of emergency savings. And just like this 1,000, that money sits there, and it is only there for an unexpected emergency. So you don't freaking invest it. You don't buy Tesla. It sits in a high yield savings account, and you don't touch it. Okay? Do it. Moving on. Now he says invest 50% of your income for retirement. I'm not against saving 15%, but you need to be a little bit more specific, because when you want to retire, you want to generate an income to provide for you and never run out for the rest of your life. So you need to know exactly how much money you want in monthly income adjusted for inflation, and then you need to modify your savings rate based on how much of a balance you need to generate that income. Sounds like a lot, but my whole point is you want to be more specific than 15%. Yeah, it's a great starting point, but you actually need to sit down with a fee-only financial advisor and figure out exactly how much income you need and how much you need to save and what you need to invest in to arrive at that desired retirement income. So 15%, you're not going wrong, but you may need to save more and you may need to save less. Now, he says save for your kid's college fund. That's fine, all right? I'm not against contributing to a 529 plan or investing in a taxable account, but don't let that become a priority. Your retirement is the number one priority, because while you may think you're helping your child, by helping them save for college. If you don't save anything for retirement and then you pay your kids college, well, if you have no money, you might have to move in with and live with them. And then you're really going to drain their resources when they're working. So prioritize your retirement savings, and in the long run, it'll actually save your kid more money. All right, so save for their college fund, that's fine. Next step, pay off your home early. I am 100% opposed to that. I think that is the dumbest thing you could possibly do, is to pay off your home early, especially in a low interest rate environment. Is it the end of the world? No. But there are better ways to spend your money than paying off your freaking house early. And we're going to talk about that. And then finally, build wealth and give. I guess if you're building a lot of wealth and you're a multimillionaire, sure, donate to charity or whatever. But if you haven't reached any of these other milestones, you're not donating, because you need to take care of yourself first and get yourself set up, and then you can donate to people, okay? Now let's move on to Strongman's alpha stomps. You like that? There are some disagreements that I have, and I talked about them already, but we're going to go into more detail. Number one, instead of saving $1,000, I want you to save 1 month of emergency expenses. You may live in a very expensive area, and your house payment might be $3,000 a month. You might have, your health insurance might be super expensive. $1,000 isn't enough to cover you if there's an emergency while you're working on your steps. You need at least 1 month of expenses saved before you do anything. And that will definitely keep you afloat if something happens while you're in these beginning steps. So I want you to save 1 month of expenses. You need to calculate that. And then after that, I want you to invest up to the 401k match if you have a 401k plan. Why do I say that instead of going directly into tackling debt? Your 401k match doubles your money. So if I have a 1-to-1 match for 5%, if I put in 5% of my paycheck, the company gives me 5% extra for free. That is a 100% return. Now, if you have a debt that's over 100% interest, okay, then you can pay that off. But if you don't have a debt that high, even if it's like 15, 20% interest, getting your 401k match will reap huge dividends. And you want to start that right off the bat. So do it. Don't start paying off your debts until you have 1 month of savings and you get your 401k match. Next, I want you to pay off all your high interest debt. Now, my rule of thumb is if debt's between 4 and 5% and higher, then it's better to pay it off because it's a guaranteed return. Now, stocks historically have performed in the United States, have performed on average 10% a year. But that's not guaranteed. However, if you know you can make 5 or 6% or 7% or more by paying off your high interest debts, and that's guaranteed, I think that's a better return for the risk you're taking. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you have debts that are 4 or 5% or higher, I want you to pay all of those off first, starting with the highest interest rate debt. Now, if you have to use Dave Ramsey's snowball method and pay off the lowest amount, you can do that. That might be a psychological boost to you. But financially, from a money standpoint, it is better to pay off your high interest debts first. So do that, pay them all off, put every freaking dime you can into them, get out of debt because it's screwing you. So now you're out of debt, finally. And the whole time you've been investing in your 401k, so you actually have some money saved. Now, once all your debt has been destroyed, you save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Same as Dave Ramsey. No issue with that. If you want more, great, you could have more saved. But 3 to 6 months is a good rule of thumb, and it's all based on your life circumstances. Once you have an emergency savings account, which you're not going to invest, you're going to leave it there and only use it for a real emergency, then you can max out your Roth IRA and your spouse's Roth IRA if you have one. I've talked a lot about the Roth IRA, but it's generally for lower income earners. I think the threshold's like $130,000 or whatever. If you're below that, you can contribute to a Roth IRA, and you can max out your spouse's IRA, even if she doesn't work. All you have to do is have earned income from work of $12,000, and then you can max your IRA and your spouse's IRA. And that is an amazing benefit that you should do. because the money grows tax-free, and then at retirement, you can take it out tax-free. It's amazing. You want to max the Roth IRA and the spousal IRA. Now, why don't I say go back to the 401k first? The reason I say don't go back to the 401k before the Roth IRA is you can choose exactly what you want in your Roth IRA. For your 401k, you don't have an option. You only can invest in what your company provides you. So your company may have crappy mutual funds that charge high expense ratios and underperform. And if that's the case, at least get the match, but then put your money to work in an account that you can direct. IRAs let you control what you do and what you invest in. 401ks, they give you some options, but it's basically what your company offers. So, max your IRAs first. Then, once you have maxed your IRAs, then you want to max your 401k and your spouse's 401k. That's $19,500 a year per person. $19,000. Roth IRAs, $6,000. That's what, $40-something thousand that you could save? That's a lot of money that you have saved tax-free. So you want to max your 401k and your spouse's 401k. And if you can't get there, that's fine. That's not a problem. All right? But that should be your goal. And then once you reach that goal, then you can move on and max your HSA, which is a health savings account, Now, these only come with high deductible plans, but if you have them, they actually offer triple tax benefits. So if you've done all this, you've maxed your Roth, you've maxed your 401k, you have your savings, then you can max out your HSA. At that point, then you can start saving for your kids' college. Now, I personally am gonna put $50 in a 529 plan every month, and that's it, and that's all they get. But if you've taken advantage of all of these, and you've maxed out all these accounts, then you can put some excess in that 529 plan. Now, I don't have a problem with that 529 plan being contributed to after you max your IRA at least, but I put it more towards the bottom because the whole point is your kid's college is not the priority. Your retirement is a priority because if you don't save for retirement, you're going to screw your kids in the long run, which you don't want to do because you don't want to move into their house and have them take care of you and drain their resources when you're older because you didn't save for retirement. So save for retirement, max out all your tax advantage accounts, and then you can contribute to a college plan like a 529, which that'll be another video. They're complex. Next, once you've funded your 529 plan based on your desired funding rate, for me it's going to be $50 a month for each of my kids. After that, if you have any extra income and you've hit all these steps, you've maxed out all your tax advantage accounts, then you can invest in a taxable brokerage. Now, the bad thing about taxable brokerages is you're going to be paying taxes on capital gains, interest, dividends, yada, yada, yada. So these accounts are tax inefficient. But if you have extra money, instead of keeping it in cash, put it in a freaking taxable brokerage and still make a decent return after taxes. That's my personal opinion. If you do invest in a taxable brokerage account though, you don't want to have high dividend or high interest investments in that account. So you don't want to really invest in bonds in a taxable account. You don't want to invest in high dividend yield investments. Those belong in IRAs or 401ks. Anything that has a high dividend or income distribution or interest distribution, you're going to be paying a lot of taxes on that. So you want like growth stocks that don't really pay dividends, and you can let them grow tax-free. That's my alpha stumps. To summarize, 529, that could go a little bit higher, but in my personal opinion, it should be below retirement savings. Dave Ramsey does a pretty good job, but paying off your house early, it's not a good idea. It's a terrible idea. And then this 15% number, you want to save as much as you can because you don't know what's going to be available to you in retirement. Social Security might be paying half of what it does. Your pension might go to crap. You want to save as much as you can in tax advantage accounts. Did you guys like that? Well, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'm glad you took the time to watch, and you guys have a wonderful day.